We're here at the AVS Symposium. Paul Godsmark. Paul, you've been a big proponent of autonomous vehicles and their impact on cities and so forth. And here we've had a lot of conversations, hearing from folks in cities and so forth. What are your thoughts so far as some of the things we've heard about autonomous cars going forward?
Well, it's very exciting, the developments that have taken place. And it's to understand that the technology is real. It's in the early stages, but some very positive things have happened in the various countries around the world. But there is, I feel there's a discussion missing that I think we should hopefully see more of over the coming year and next year, and that's how the business models around autonomous vehicles will actually more likely shape the deployment scenarios, how quickly market penetration will take place, and the wider socio-economic impacts.
Yeah, we've definitely heard a lot from technologists, from the academics about the testing of it and so forth. But what you said, follow the money, right? That's where the business is going to be, right?
That's right. I think it's very important if you follow the money, because in reality that's how these things will play out. No one's doing this from the public sector to just see how it goes. It's private companies that are very much driving this, and the business models are all revolving around fleets. And once those fleets start adopting autonomous vehicles, and we consider that one autonomous vehicle replaces anywhere from 2 to 13 private vehicles, then the impact of those fleets becoming automated will then have a much wider impact than they currently do for the same fleet size. And I think the business models around that are very compelling for the rapid uptake of transportation as a service, and in particular ride sharing of automated vehicles, which is what the cities should be pushing when they realise that automated vehicles aren't just cars, but they can actually be used as a tool to improve how the city operates, to make it cleaner, to reduce emissions, to make it safer, and to achieve the city goals. There was a very interesting talk that Gabe Klein gave on day one, where he described how the autonomous vehicle is an important tool in the urban planners' toolkit moving forward. But what I would like to see more of a discussion on how much better a tool the AV will turn out to be than I think the initial assumptions and designs show. I think it's much more versatile. We will see new modes of autonomous vehicles. I'm very excited about the whole prospect of pods that combine into physical road trains that will have a similar passenger density to a bus. For me, that would be transformative if we have pods collecting people from their doors, but then combining before they enter the urban core and have a much lower take up much less space than an equivalent amount of vehicles, even ride-shared vehicles. And so I think that these tools that are going to be at our disposal for the cities and the business models that will drive the uptake of those tools will have a more profound effect than perhaps even we're discussing here.
Well, it kind of becomes a virtual light rail, if you will.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, the autonomous vehicle will become the public transport of the future. It's a hybrid of the private car and public transport, but it's better than either in terms of the city and how we move about, because it provides on-demand door-to-door service, unlike public transit, conventional public transit, which is on-demand on fixed routes. But it also can mimic public transit if we get this density question right, which I think is the game changer, and it's a technology that hasn't been represented here and discussed. So again, I think we need to use our imaginations more, break out of the current paradigm and its thinking, and think about the possibilities, this new toolkit of possibilities that the autonomous vehicle truly opens up for us.
And that really does change things, because suddenly you're not on a fixed route. You can really, it's really like the software revolution that's happened in data centers and telecommunications and so forth.
Yeah. I think that's a really good analogy, how data was moved around, the way that we can make the roads much more efficient. And if we're making the roads much more efficient, do we need to be spending money on other modes such as rail? Because rail, Brad Templeton had this discussion with him yesterday. The only things that can travel on rail lines are trains. Whereas on the roads we can get any form of wheeled vehicle, we can get pedestrians, we can get cyclists, all of those people can use that same pavement surface. So let's make it more efficient, and as we make it more efficient, let's stop spending money on the other things that we might not need to spend on, and make the roads, we can start to repurpose them, we can start to put bicycle lanes in. As Gabe Klein presented this vision, I see all of that. But I can also see more people being moved efficiently on the roads because of autonomous vehicles.
In that vision, being able to paint the vision, I think, for constituents and for others is important, right?
Absolutely. One of the biggest problems around the conversation around autonomous vehicles is that even us specialists aren't aware of the full range of tools that will be available. And if we're limited in our thinking and what we present to people as the possibilities, then we're always going to limit the conversation. Meanwhile, there are guys in garages all over the world, and particularly here in the Silicon Valley area, that are inventing things that are going to change the world, and we need to have at least an idea of what they're doing to help us imagine this future and bring it into being.
Well, excellent. And Paul, I know you and your colleagues will help bring that future here, so thank you.